Ready for a great, great day. I'm excited to be with you again. We are in a continuing conversation around activating momentum in our life. My name is Donna Woolam. I am a reinvention coach and dream advocate. We are, let's see, I'm getting some messages here. Let me make sure everything is great and going the way it's supposed to. It seems like it is. Let me just double check. Let me double check. Make sure we've got everything great going on here before I really get started into the training. Thank you so much for your patience with me. I love technology. I mean, I really, really do. But it can make your life a little bit wackadoodle sometimes, right? It seems like everything is going great, so we'll just go ahead and get started. And what we're talking about today, and we're continuing our conversation on activating momentum in our life. You know, I work typically with women who have big dreams and big goals. And in that process, we can have a lot of things going on in our mind, the decisions that we want to make, the goals that we have, the decisions, the processes and the everything that we do, and we can get a lot of stuff stuck up in our head, and that can often make us get stuck. Also, life situations can come around and hit us out of the blue, and before we know it, we're just on the sidelines of life and we don't have any idea how to catapult ourselves back into the lane of life that we really, really want to live in. So, what I do is I help women be able, and men, but primarily women, but I help people begin to take pieces of all of what's going on in their life, bring some balance around that, and so they can get back into life and living the purposeful life that they are meant to live by our Creator. You can find more information about me at my website, donnawoolam.com. And I hope today will really help you know that wherever you are today, whatever you're struggling with, that there is some help for you if you just kind of take a peek back at some of your past successes. That's what the theme of today's conversation is all about. I'd love to hear from you, so please be sure and pop yourself down into the chat and give me a thumbs up, or if you're watching the replay, hit replay. And please also consider sharing this to your friends if you find it helpful today. So, one of the things that I want us to talk about today in the next 15 minutes or so is to understand that success leaves tracks and success leaves clues, right? You've heard that before. That's not anything new. And I want to give a shout out to the Guy Fieri. If you ever watch him on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, or any of the multitude of shows that he has on food channels, especially the Food Network, you've heard this term, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And he's always giving that, wow, this is a great meal. This is a great dish. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And that's become part of our culture's colloquialism, if you can say that. We just, when we like something, that's what we say. So that's where the title of this came. That's a little bunny trail. But success leaves tracks and clues. And if you've ever had success in one area of your life, you can look back on your life and grab up some of what you've learned there and apply it to the wisdom of your life today. Because if you are visionary, if you are a person who has big dreams and big goals, undoubtedly you're going to find yourself in a position doing something you've never done before, because your nature and your character is to press the bounds and to press the boundaries of what life has been up to now. And when you do that, you can begin to really, when we find ourselves on the edge of our comfort zone, then we have to listen to all the voices. And there are a lot of different voices that yell at us. First of all, there's that voice inside of our head that just says, what do you think you're doing? Have you ever had that voice speak to you? What do you think you're doing? There's that voice that says, you should just be comfortable and relax. You should just step back 2 or 3 steps and just be content with life the way it is. Why do you have to make things so hard for yourself? Any of that resonate with you? Does that make sense to you? Have you ever heard any of that? Well, these are the kind of things that just are normal and natural in our brain. It's our subconscious saying, save yourself, save yourself. You're causing too much trouble and anxiety for my brain. Settle down here. But we also have these, I call it the centralized taser system. It's those thoughts that just bring us to our knees. And you might recognize them in the imposter syndrome or any of those different things. But things like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to try this? Who do you think you are? That's like the biggest one. Or you're just faking everybody out. You don't know what you're talking about and you're just faking it. And they're going to find out and everybody's going to know that you're no good at what you do. Wow. And it doesn't matter how studied, how successful, how powerful, how trained you are, when you are pushing the boundaries of anything you've ever done before, those voices are going to show up. There's also another voice that will show up. And anytime we are living full out our purpose for God, anytime that we are determining that we will be more committed than ever before to fully expressing the fullness of who God has made us to be, then of course the voice of the enemy is going to come against us and try to trap us and keep us locked into a nice, safe spot where we are not making any big leaps for the kingdom of God or for the message of the gospel. It's just the truth. So we have these normal, natural conversations in our head that our subconscious wants us to be safe. We have those internal voices that are saying, you're no good at this. And we have those external voices that of the enemy and maybe some of the lovely people who love us and want to keep us safe, and the critics of our lives that just always want to find us safe and secure and maybe not trying to stretch too much. I did a whole series and a training on that called NATS, Generational Negative and Toxic Sayings, but I talk about the people in our life there that love us and care about us but want us to stay safe. So you can also find that information on my website. But I want to give you a little bit of help today. So we have these voices and they can really just paralyze us. They can keep us stuck. We can get up in the morning full of energy and anticipating everything that the day holds for us, and we start hearing these voices and we get stuck and we put our pencil down. We don't write the story. We step away from our desk. We don't make the phone call. We don't do the work because we become so overwhelmed by the voices, or maybe even the thoughts of our own past failures, that we just decide maybe tomorrow. And yesterday I talked about those maybe tomorrow attitudes, but you can find that video in the history here. But I want to give you a couple of ways that I have discovered in my life and in working with my clients, a few ways that have really helped them. So here's step number one. And I always start out by praying, because I was in a job situation several years ago where I kind of had an idea of how to work the programs and kind of had an idea of how to put some creativity out, but they really had hired me because I had a fresh view on things. But I would sit in front of my computer and I would sit in front of the programs and I would be so stuck and not know how to do. I mean, it was a real skill challenge for me. So my prayer became, God of the heavens and the earth, you created the wisdom and the skill that developed this program. You gave the wisdom, direction, and knowledge to the people who were able to create this. I ask you to give me the same wisdom, same skill, and same ability to do the work now. And it is incredible, of course, because God answers prayer, that I could go away maybe for a lunch break and come back and I would have the answers and I would know what to do. So the very first thing always for a child of God, when you are in a situation you don't know which way to go, is to pray and ask the God of the heavens and the earth, your creator, the God of all wisdom and truth, to teach you what you need to know. Especially even now, whenever I'm learning new skills, amping up my coaching abilities, learning new technologies, working through challenges like this to make sure that I get the information out to those of you that I care so much about. I'm always praying, God, show me, God, teach me, God, lead me. Because if you do that and you submit all of that under God's hand, that's the safest place to be, my darling. Absolutely the safest place to be. Step number 2 is to look back at where you've had some successes in your life. Where have you really just knocked it out of the park? Where have you had in your life someone declare to you, winner, winner, chicken dinner? This is the most awesome thing that I've ever done, or this is so powerful, or it's really changed my life, or you just were able to step back and go, yeah, go you. You did a great job today. Look at something in that area of your life and identify those places where you've been successful, and give yourself some celebration about that. Give yourself some encouragement that you do know how to learn new things and do them well. And then the third part is, how did you do that? How did you show up in that moment? What were the steps and the processes that you used to make that project, to make that event, to learn that new skill? Who were you in that moment whenever you created new success in your life? Maybe it was that you had a step-by-step strategy or plan. Maybe you read a new book. Maybe you had someone who came alongside of you and walked with you and helped you and coached you. Maybe you just have an innate skill and ability and you were able to put the pieces together. Whatever it was and whoever you were in that moment, you can access that same part of who you are and that same wisdom and that same tenacity and commitment to do well in this new place in your life. So if you find yourself struggling today and you're not sure exactly, how do I go about this? What do I do? How do I make this happen? I encourage you to invest looking back just a little bit at your previous successes and saying, you know what? I did this before. I can do it now, and I can do it again if I want to. And invest time in looking at your past skills and successes. One of the things that I do with people as I'm coaching them is to help them take hold of those different pieces of their life. There's a difference between coaching and counseling, because counseling is often about dealing with your past and how to move through some of the pains and the heartaches of that. Coaching really is about future focused and helping you get from where you are today to the future that you want for yourself. But in this particular instance, this is where coaching and counseling and consulting kind of all blend together, because I work with people to help them just take a glance back at where they've had some incredible successes and help them bring those pieces into the future. If this sounds like something you'd like, please remember that I always do a complimentary clarity call. And on that call, it's not a sales call at all. You bring to the table what you want to talk about, and we will talk through that and see how I can help you and how I can help you get your feet back underneath you. It'd be my honor and my privilege to do that with you. So I hope that you'll consider today that this information that I've given you, and if it helps you, please let me know that. I'd like to know that what I'm serving you in this online space is beneficial to you. If you need a little more information, you want a little more clarity, you want me to expand on that, let me know that too. And in a future live stream, broadcast, I can talk about that as well. I just want to thank you so much for investing your time here with me today. And I want to encourage you and let you know that the God of all hope, the God of peace, and the God of comfort is resting around you. And if you do not know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I really encourage you today to call out to God and ask Him to show Himself to you powerfully, because He would delight to show Himself as the God who loves you, the God who keeps you, and the God who's on your side. Thanks so much, and I just want to encourage you to go out there and have one of those living at my best kind of fantastic days. All the best to you. Bye.